You may drive Chinese cars in the next decade, not German, Japanese, or American ones. Sounds far-fetched? Well, buckle up, because the Chinese car revolution is here, and it's just getting started. Chinese EVs have taken Europe by storm, and it's not just about cheap prices. These cars are sleek, innovative, and ready to challenge some of the biggest names in the industry. What's the big deal? Chinese automakers no longer want to dominate their home market alone. They want Europe, and the results are already worrying. From Berlin to London, German automakers are beginning to shudder. VW and Mercedes, kingpins in the car world, are feeling the pressure amid China's burgeoning and ambitious car manufacturers. Struggling Volkswagen even announced the closing of factories while Mercedes slashed its sales forecast in China. Why? Because it's difficult to score with Chinese-made cars selling onboard technology at peanuts. And here is the clincher. Chinese EVs are not just cheap, they change the game. Just look at BYD's success with Auto 3 in the UK or MG's dominance across Europe, showing that Chinese manufacturers can penetrate the market truly. What does this mean for the future of the European car market? Let's take a more thorough survey of the Chinese brands making waves worldwide. If you are reading and watching this phenomenal shift, these are names you have to keep track of. BYD is going to be followed up. Surely, BYD is now a very relevant company worldwide, especially as far as electric vehicles are concerned. More than making cars, they are building sustainable driving in the future. You may have heard of the Atto 3. It's one of the most popular EVs out in the UK right now, and that is just the beginning. That's not all for BYD though. They are aggressively expanding into Europe, giving cheaper high-tech alternatives to the more traditional European models. Up next is NIO, a brand that's catching the eye with its electric luxury vehicles. Already they have drawn the interest of potential investors, and their design is pretty much out of the box. Interestingly, it's not only about cutting-edge performance. NIO has set a battery swapping station as well as autonomous driving technology as the features that make NIO's cars unique from the competitors. Next, Open. Still, a newcomer when compared to the giants like Tesla, the brand is gunning for an unstoppable trajectory. By virtue of its tech-advanced approach as well as a partnership with AI companies, the vehicles of this brand will be some of the most advanced ones in the market. XPeng's G9 is an absolute game-changer SUV. Now, let's talk about China itself. Huge. The market for EVs in China. The country holds over 30% of global EV sales. That's what has happened in the past decade, and the trend will continue to grow with ever greater numbers following China's step into clean energy. Well, electric cars are not a craze but a need in China. Air pollution has reached its highest, and citizens are being tempted to buy EVs due to government incentives. So, what has happened? China, it turns out, is now the largest EV market in the world, spearheaded by brands such as BYD. The expansion plan of BYD is indeed something to write home about. They have already penetrated Europe and are establishing locally produced vehicle manufacturing plants that will, in the end, cut costs and increase accessibility to European buyers. Their aggressiveness in trying to enter North America and beyond makes BYD a major player in the global EV race. Whether it is BYD, NIO, or XPeng, they challenge the limits of what seems possible, and Europe is just the platform. Now, the Chinese car revolution has arrived, and what an impressive change it appears to be. Much talked about. Now let's examine MG's success in Europe, a brand that may surprise a few. Traditionally associated with British sports cars, MG is beginning to make a resurgence from the ashes, so to speak, courtesy of China's SAIC motor, and they are doing quite some amazing things. The MG4 EV is creating a buzz throughout Europe. Compact, affordable, high range, all pointing towards buyers of a certain type looking for budget EVs without trade-offs in quality. There is space inside, and it is tech-forward. Not that surprising, MG is making ground in countries like the UK, France, and Germany. But low prices don't tell the whole story. The formula for success at MG comes from powerful marketing combined with highly competitive prices, coupled with the fact that Germans are increasingly buying very innovative electric cars from China. While the European automakers focus on the premium side, MG has attacked the mass market, and it looks like this is indeed a winner. Now, while MG is thriving, not all Chinese brands are having the same success. Take Polestar, for example. This electric car brand, launched by Geely, has faced a bit of a rough ride in the European market. Polestar's sleek designs and advanced features should have made it a hit. However, despite its high-tech appeal, the brand has struggled with consumer awareness and the brand recognition needed to break into a competitive market. It's a tough crowd in Europe, and Polestar is trying to find its footing in a landscape dominated by established names. So what's next for Polestar? The brand is setting its sights on the US, where the EV market is also booming. But cracking the American market won't be easy. With Tesla dominating the EV space, it's going to take more than just fancy tech and futuristic designs to win over US customers. Polestar is banking on aggressive pricing and a strong marketing strategy to gain a foothold in the US. But with so many homegrown brands like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid already capturing the market's attention, it's clear Polestar will have to work hard to carve out a niche. Now, let's take a moment to consider the UK's position in all this, especially post-Brexit. While the UK has historically been a key player in the European automotive sector, its role in the new EV landscape is evolving. With Brexit separating the UK from the European Union, the country finds itself in a unique position as Chinese brands increasingly make their presence felt in Europe. The UK's automotive industry is facing new challenges: economic uncertainty, the impact of Brexit, and an increased push toward electrification. While the EU is working hard to increase its green transition and attract new EV manufacturers, the UK is still figuring out its next move. On the one hand, the UK has a strategic advantage in terms of language and cultural ties with global markets. But the country's trade relationship with Europe post-Brexit is no longer as seamless as before. This has made it a bit harder for UK-based companies to compete with European manufacturers, especially as Chinese brands like BYD and NIO pour into the European market. However, the UK also has opportunities. For one, it is home to a rapidly growing EV infrastructure, especially with the government's push to ban new petrol and diesel vehicles by 2030. If the UK can leverage its position as a hub for EV production and innovation, it could still play a major role in the European electric car market, even if it's no longer part of the EU. But there's a catch. With European manufacturers heavily investing in electric vehicles and Chinese automakers like BYD looking to dominate, the UK may find itself squeezed between two powerful forces. The UK will need to make strategic partnerships, invest in EV infrastructure, and perhaps focus more on the luxury EV market to stay competitive in this rapidly changing landscape. With MG's success, Polestar's challenges, and the broader market dynamics, it's clear that Europe and the UK are on the brink of a massive shift. So, there you have it. Chinese EVs are quickly becoming a force to be reckoned with in Europe, and what we've seen so far is just the beginning. From MG's impressive rise to the hurdles faced by brands like Polestar, the landscape is shifting, and it's clear the future of European cars may very well be electric and Chinese. It's an exciting time in the automotive industry, and as these brands push boundaries with innovation and affordability, we can only imagine how the competition will evolve. But here's the big question for you. Will Chinese brands completely dominate the EV market in the coming years? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below and let's dive into the discussion. And if you're as excited about the future of EVs as I am, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more updates. We've got plenty more content lined up, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.